big news overnight with young Hurricanes number 10, Aidan Morgan, signing overseas as well. Clearly, in isolation, this doesn't look like much. But when you remember that Fergus Burke, I think, signed to Saracens, isn't he, as the replacement really for Owen Farrell, who's going across to France. I mean, are these two, when you look at them together, are these two departures a big concern for New Zealand rugby? And when you factor it in with, this push from Razor that we also spoke about earlier in the year around eligibility, and Aaron Smith has chimed in, I think, over the weekend with an interview, thinking that maybe there's a 60 cap rule that's needed, a la where the Wallabies Giteau Law started back in 2015. Is this going to put this issue firmly back in focus, Morgan's signature over the last 24 hours?
I don't think so, Brucey, for a couple of reasons. I think, look, you can't begrudge Aidan Morgan for taking that deal. He'd fallen down the pecking order at the Hurricanes. He'd fallen behind Brett Cameron there. And look, I think in isolation, and I suppose you throw Fergus Burke into that group as well. It's the old grandparents loophole, right? How are we going to find someone in New Zealand who's going to be eligible for Ireland or England or Scotland going forward? And I know that there are a few Scottish clubs sniffing around Finlay Christie a few years ago before he made the All Blacks as well. So I don't think introducing a Giteau Law is the way for New Zealand rugby to go. I think that as it stands, the eligibility laws here already allow All Blacks who have given a certain amount to the game, who have played a certain amount of tests, who have contributed to the game in a certain way, go and do that. Look at Artie Savia. He's been allowed to go and make that money in Japan for a season and is still eligible. Beauden Barrett's been allowed to go and make money in Japan twice now and has remained eligible for the All Blacks. And the All Blacks actually adjusted the law for Beauden Barrett this year to allow him to be eligible for the All Blacks straight away. Normally, he would have to go back and play for Taranaki first to then be eligible for the All Blacks. But they actually said, given your history and the amount of caps you've played and the contract that you've signed on here long-term through to the next World Cup, we're going to scrap that for you. So they are rewarding that service to the game. And while it's not exactly what the Giteau Law is in Australia, I think there is enough benefit there for long-serving All Blacks. Geordie Barrett, obviously, another one taking off next year who will come back. There is enough benefit there for All Blacks who have been great servants of the game and have played a certain amount of tests to go away and do that. And, I don't see that law changing, and I don't think it should.